Did you hear about those people that died in California? This is not, I don't think you could have done anything in this circumstance, but they were trapped on a road during a wildfire. And the wildfire was moving so fast, it killed everybody that was on the road.
No.
Burned them alive in their car. I had Randall Carlson on my podcast. He's an expert in collisions, like cosmic collisions on Earth. And he said, he goes, global warming is not good. He goes, but what's really bad is global cooling.
Oh.
He goes, global cooling is terrifying. Ice ages, that's where everybody dies.
Yeah.
That's where there's no food. That's where you're fucking starving to death.
Dude, how do we make it? Nasty,
dude. Fucking in there?
Oh, they're probably
getting
animal
layers get in there together.
Dude, imagine fucking in an ice house that you made with a fire in the center of it, on animal skins of animals you killed. Well, they kicked him out because he got busted with a bunch of floozies.
Yeah,
what?
Paying a bunch of ladies with company cash.
Who would have thought all that money went to that?
Yeah. Gotta keep people. Look, if you look like that and you're 7 years old and you're the head of the WWE, you're slinging dick.
What do you want him to do?
What do you want him to do? I'd be more disappointed if he wasn't slinging dick.
Yeah,
if he was a faithful married man.
He's a gigantic barbarian man who's like 79 years old. Awesome. He works out with a chain around his neck. You ever see how jacked he is? I asked, but I forget. But there is one thing. Someone told me that during the overseas war, during the because of the Geneva Convention, you aren't allowed to have like hollow point bullets in your pistol. Realizing you're trying to turn the lights on, like what the fuck's going on? And he's an illegal immigrant. He's from another country.
Yeah, so he tried to hide.
I was playing Quake. I would play all night long, man. I installed a T1 line in my house. Back when I couldn't get good internet because I was living in the mountains. I was like, what can you do? And they go, well, if you had a business, we could run a T1 line. I go, well, I got a business. Let's run a T1 line.
Just you playing Quake?
They had to fucking dig up the street and lay pipes and shit.
Oh, wait, that steep-ass hill right by the store?
The steepest, right by the store.
Yes, I do know that.
I would take that in my Porsche, and it was a manual, and I'd always get stuck at the top, and I stalled out like 3 or 4 times. Because you're like this.
Yeah,
it's like crazy peach.
Fuck that.
So I had to learn how to hit the emergency brake and slowly let out the clutch while I let the emergency brake up. That's how bad the hill is, and that it was safe and effective.
Yeah.
And so it made sense that everybody's like, you got to
get it. Is that what it was?
Yeah, it made sense. It totally made the hysteria makes sense. People weren't given the best information. Do you ever see the CEO of
all the sexual dysfunction, ED?
What about 5-HTP? There's serotonin precursors that you could take.
Maybe, but here's my thing. If you're just trying to say things right, it'll kind of spin you out.
But that these things most likely died in mass, and that this area where John Reeves has in Alaska is a particularly fertile area, a particularly rich area for finding these skeletons. Worth $40. That's hilarious. But the money remains inaccessible pending a successful public launch. In the interim, Trump's media venture has put together about $38 million in debt, according to the SEC file. That makes sense. And that money didn't come from Trump himself, so who provided it? See, that's what I'm saying. The money didn't come from Trump himself. See, I guessed, and I was correct.
Yeah.
And so let's look at all these people.
It's a weird culture.
There's a lot of those people in Canada.
I guess like for the fishing, right?
No, miners.
Yeah?
Yeah, there's a lot of miners, oil people. A lot of people work the oil rigs. In Canada. Yeah. A lot of the people they're a part of that strip mining. Like they all have like jacked up trucks and giant gold chains and education in human beings and development and like why people do the things they do and why they say the things they do and why they're trying out different kinds of behaviors and in the 90s. I've been friends with Alex since 1998.
Wow.
That's how I know him. I knew him back when he was protesting George Bush, and he was saying that George Bush is a warmonger and a war
Which
hawk.
one?
And
For a second one?
When W was running for president, years old, and he was fucked ever since then.
Yeah.
And he has real mental problems sometimes. And if he's drinking a lot, and then he takes in too much conspiracy shit, he starts believing things that aren't real.
Ruining folks' lives.
And that's what he did.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he decided, and culture has decided to manipulate these ancient doctrines and change them to keep up with the times.
Or evil.
Or evil, yeah.
Or evil. It's kind of like,
But I think what I was going to say is like the concept of like a guy in the sky, with a robe on, like what people consider God. That might seem ridiculous, but
comes out and he says, "There's $2 trillion we can't account for." That was September 10th,
yes.
2001.
Yes. Yeah.
It's the last time we ever heard about any of the money being gone.
And the conspiracy theory was always that where the bomb blew up is where they counted the money.
Yeah.
Keep him
Have an
alive.
artificial zebra.
Keep him alive. Got to keep him in the zoo. I mean, zoos are the most horrific thing ever for a fucking animal. The only animal, I used to do a joke about, the only animal that doesn't have a bad time in the zoo is giraffes. They're so chill because no lions are eating them. It's like it's a beautiful day for them. But everybody else is like, get me the fuck out of here.
People think most engineers don't care, but they probably lean left.
I just asked it to criticize Fauci, and it sort of did.
It says he's a highly regarded immunologist. Maybe it's changing. And the director of National Institute.
I don't know if I want to get back in there right away.
He's on
and then
touch
you
another
could think
level.
you think about it for a while.
What does it say here? Oliveira suffered a micro tear in his esophagus. Wow.
And you know what that was probably due to?
Because we brought up the fact that there was a former FBI analyst who went over Twitter, and he said that the number of fake accounts could be as high as 80%.
If you're like just like trying to say things right, it'll kind of spin you out.
A haze of drugs and booze and a psychotic break and like legitimate traumatic brain injury.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on there.